Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chuck Davis,
Here.
Councilman Mike Cooley,
Here.
Corey Oxford,
Here.
Bob Barkers,
Here.
Councilman Jerry Flutie.
Here.
Okay, we have one addition to the agenda. It's a variance at 208 West Saratoga. So we'll go ahead and add that with some. Are there any other items that need to be changed on the agenda, or is everybody good with it? If so, I'll take a motion to go ahead and pass the agenda with the one addition variance.
I'll make a motion to pass the agenda with the variance or with the adjustment there.
Have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the minutes from the October 15th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be made to them? Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve the minutes from the October 15th meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 15th meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the bills. We have deposits in the amount of $236,347.73. Accounts payable in the amount of $94,747.66. Transmittals in the amount of $23,069.01. And payroll in the amount of $43,121.70. Are any questions? Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excuse me. Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. Ms. Clerk.
Valley Chamber of Commerce, there's the Festival of Trees Gala auction. It's Friday, December 5th. The doors open at 5:30. It's at the Great Hall. Individual tickets are $50, or sponsor tickets $8 or $600. All proceeds for the benefit of Platte Valley Chamber.
Benefit who?
Proceeds of auction to benefit Saratoga Platte Valley Chamber, Platte Valley Little League, Platte Valley Martial Arts, and Platte Valley.
Okay.
And then we have a letter from Ron Kaufman. I'm writing to you in reference to the town-owned property located to the east of Brown subdivision and south of the high school football field. I purchased the property at 401 Walnut Court East, number 1B in June of 2020. And one of the main reasons I chose my lot was because it backs up to the town property and has a wonderful view of Kennedy Peak and the entire valley to the east. I should say had a wonderful view of the valley because the town has recently dumped many piles of road materials directly to the rear east of my property and in effect has ruined my view as well as adversely affected my property value. My understanding is that the piles have been deposited there as a result of the town road utility projects. There has been discussion that the town is interested in another property where it could deposit road utility spoils without adversely affecting other properties. I'm respectfully seeking an assurance from the town council that this issue be considered a priority and the removal of the aforementioned piles start immediately. I've prepared my home for sale, and there is evidence that properties for sale on Walnut Court East have received negative feedback due to the town dumping. I ask the town council members, please visit the site and then ask yourself how you would feel about the dumping if you were in our shoes and owned property there. The dumping without a doubt violates town ordinances. I also strongly urge the town to immediately start grading the piles starting at our rear property lines and grading east. This is the least that this should happen until another property is located for the relocation of the piles. In the meantime, while we wait for resolution of this issue, our ability to sell a property is severely impacted and our property values are impacted as well. Your prompt attention to this matter will be greatly appreciated.
The council approves, I'll have Jen send him back a small letter saying the town is working on it. We'll move forward as fast as we possibly can, and because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Guys all good with that? Okay.
And then the attorney for the Lundy Estate property reached out to me and said that there is a hearing on the docket for November 21st. And he stated that they hoped to have answers that day.
Okay, any questions on any of this? Okay, we'll move on to items from the public, and we have the Platte Valley Art Council, Stacy Crimmins.
Thank you, Mayor and Town Council. The Platte Valley Arts Council is applying for a grant through the America 250, Wyoming 250, Carbon County 250, the 250th anniversary of our country's founding. And we're planning to, or hoping to get a grant for a mural that will depict the history of the Hobo Hot Springs, and that mural would be placed down at the hot springs area. Because it's a grant situation, we don't know whether or not we will have the money at this point. So what I'm asking tonight is for the council or Mayor Davis to sign a memo of understanding that I can submit with the grant application stating that that you are giving permission for the possibility of a mural at that location. Just like in other murals that the town has been participating in, the Arts Council retained membership or ownership of the mural. We maintain it, we install it, we put up all the costs. So there is no financial costs to the town. There's an indemnification to the town for liability and things like that. And our timeline is that the grant is due. I'm hoping to be able to submit this possibly this week, next week, and we will put out a call to artists and get proposals, and then we would have by the end of January some ideas back from artists. And then they have about 5 months to execute the piece, and hopefully it'll be installed and be able to do a presentation July 4th. We have calculated a budget of $22,500 for this. That includes an honorarium to the artist, all the installation, the site prep, marketing, and signage and things like that. That's a maximum budget. That's what I will be asking for in the grant. However, depending on the artist, they may, we'll have to, if they come back with a higher number, we'll have to scale the mural or things like that. So we're not necessarily thinking that we will be spending all $2250. That's just a maximum. So I have asked Jen to put this memo of understanding in your packets. I don't know if you all have it. So it basically says, whereas Arts Council would apply for funding from the Carbon County 250 Committee, Wyoming 150, America 250 to commission a mural. Whereas this mural will reflect the America 250 themes, which connect Wyoming's unique culture to state and national themes celebrating the nation's 250th birthday. Whereas Arts Council will own the mural created by the Wyoming 250 project if the grant is awarded. Whereas Arts Council wishes to keep the mural in public locations for the enjoyment of others. Whereas the mural would be constructed with various types of metal fabricated into a three-dimensional mural installed on the concrete retainer wall. Whereas the mural would be located on the property of Hobo Hot Springs in Saratoga, currently owned by the town of Saratoga. Now therefore, in consideration of the mural promises and covenants contained here, the Arts Council and the town of Saratoga agree that the Arts Council has made the mural available for public enjoyment under certain conditions. Property owner, which is the town, will not dismantle, move, or otherwise alter the mural without specific permission from the Arts Council. Property owner agrees to notify Arts Council as soon as possible if the mural has been vandalized, broken, stolen, or otherwise damaged. Arts Council has the right to perform routine maintenance on the mural without consent of the property owner. And such maintenance will be completed in a timely manner by and is arranged by the Arts Council. Maintenance may include, but is not limited to, adding a clear coat protection, securing the hanging or mounting hardware, repairing frames, replacing broken or damaged items. All routine maintenance and care of the Arts Council mural shall be the fiscal responsibility of Arts Council. Town will allow installation of the mural on their property with no financial obligations to the Arts Council. Arts Council will retain ownership of the said mural and ensure proper insurance is carried by Arts Council. This memo of understanding shall terminate at such time mutually agreed upon Arts Council and town. If in the event that the property is sold to another entity, the property owner will notify Arts Council and allow Arts Council to discuss mural agreement with new owners. The indemnification is that the town property owner agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the Platte Valley Arts Council from liability for any claims arising out of the negligence or wrongful act or omission of its agents, servants, employees, and contractors. The right to indemnification shall include all defense costs, including attorney's fees, all court costs, expert witness fees, discovery expense, and any other costs permitted by the court, mediator, or arbitrator. By the signatures of this memo of understanding, all parties represent and warrant that they are authorized to act for and bind their principles. Memo of understanding contains the entire agreement of the parties and may only be modified in a written document signed by all parties hereafter. We've used this memo of understanding, same memo of understanding with you for the mural that will be placed at Never Forget Park when that is finished. We commissioned the Sphere mural that's outside of Platte Valley Community Center right now, but the same memo of understanding template was used for that. So are there any questions?
Yeah, I have one. Any idea what this is gonna weigh?
No. So I talked to Emery a couple weeks ago, just wanting to, I just sort of envisioned that trying to put something on that wall between the main swimming pool and the hobo pool, the cement wall. And so I just asked if it was structurally sound and he said yes. So that'll be part of the discussion with the artist. We will have to do some calculations and figure that out. But if that particular location is possible for whatever reasons, there are other places that at the side of the shower house or the fence or other places in that same area that could also be.
If it's steel and the steam from the hot springs, metal doesn't last really well down there. I wonder how long that'll be before it's starting to bubble the paint.
It won't be painted. And the way I envision it, it'd be several different types of metal, like copper and brass and galvanized steel or whatever, so that would give it the colors. And then whatever the minerals do and the steam and whatnot would just patina it. So there would be no paint. It would just be steel. That's how I would love to see it. I don't know if an artist can come up with something, but
Yeah.
That's the problem before, I think, is keeping that.
Yeah, they put rock on it. It's fell off.
Yeah.
They've done all kinds of stuff, but
So this is kind of the first step so that I can apply for the grant. And then after the grant, if it's awarded, then we've got a lot more steps that will need to be taken to make sure that whatever the artist can come up with is physically feasible. And so I'm sure I will be back with updates and things. Any other questions? So what I'm asking for tonight is that Mayor Davis signs this memo of understanding so that I can put a grant application.
Questions? Anything on this end?
the only thing I see is them having control of whether it stays up or stays down and not the city when it's on the city property.
Well,
If it become an issue for any other reason and the Arts Council disagreed with it, that's the only issue I see in there anywhere.
and that was a very good point. That I was gonna bring up the same thing. If the wall shows deterioration or something, we'll have to take it down.
Right, I believe that is written into this, that if the you, the property owner, does not want it anymore, you just let us know and we take it.
Yeah.
So we know that the future is, we don't know what's gonna happen, so, and we don't know, I mean, the murals that we have around town now, I mean, they aren't lasting near as long as we had hoped, and that's just the way it is with anything, so. And so we don't want anything unsafe or unsightly, so the Arts Council, I'd understand if the town didn't want that mural there any longer. It would make a lot of sense to me to be able to take it out, and that's why it says the contract can be terminated at any time, so.
Say something. The thing that stuck out to me was the perform routine maintenance without the consent of the property owner. As much as that hot pool's used, I mean, we have a regular cleaning schedule. I think maybe we could align your maintenance with our cleaning schedule, that way that we're not having to shut the hot pool down multiple times, for sure.
Yes, and I definitely do not want to have any maintenance done on it. That would be my hope, but for instance, if there's some screws or something that need to be tightened, I mean, I would definitely confer with Emery no matter what, because I wouldn't have the expertise to do it anyway. So I would probably leave it to Emery's judgment or the town's judgment to coordinate any maintenance.
So this is more of a sculpture than a mural, though,
Well,
basically is what you're thinking. To me, a mural is something that's painted.
so I would say that it is a mural in that it is basically a two-dimensional picture type of thing. It can be three-dimensional though, because if you layered metal and if you do like cutouts on metal and put one metal in front of the other, then you'd have, so I don't think it's necessarily a sculpture, because that to me is much more three-dimensional, but it might have some depth, maybe 6 inches, 9 inches, 12 inches, but not more than that.
Any additional questions?
Oh, so I worry about it getting vandalized, honestly.
What's
I
that?
said I would worry about it getting vandalized down there.
If
That
it's
is a concern.
yeah, it's steel, it shouldn't.
Depends on how high it's hung and
Copper and brass.
Yeah. Steel, copper, brass, but
it's possible that it would be vandalized.
We have a lot of murals all over the Platte Valley, and we carry insurance on them, and mostly because of what we thought when we started doing murals, is that we thought there would be vandalism. And there has been no vandalism whatsoever on any of the pieces, which pleasantly surprised us. I believe that public art does have a different, people have a different attitude towards public art than like wall someplace else. I mean, there's a little bit of a second thought given when you're talking about a piece of artwork, I believe. So far, we've had no problems with having public art being modified in any way.
So what do you guys want to do?
I think it'd be a good addition. Nice one to the hot pool. That would not costing the town anything and they take care of the maintenance and I don't see it being a problem.
Down here?
I don't have a problem with it.
I'd be fine with it.
And I don't have a problem with it either. I do have a problem with finding that without the attorney looking at this memo of understanding. I can ask the council to give, I can have the attorney look at it tomorrow. Hopefully she can get it done tomorrow. And if the council will give me permission, I can sign it then. There's one word in here, PVC has the right to, perform routine maintenance on without consent of the property owner, right? We probably ought to know if you're gonna go down there and do something to the pool. I don't like that without us not knowing. Cause you're gonna be in the pool, if there's a chance of clear coat getting dripped in the pool, then somebody calls us, and I just think we ought to have some say when routine maintenance. I don't like that one word in there.
Take that one out.
So I'd call for, I'd ask for a motion, whether to accept this or not, giving me permission to sign it after the attorney looks at the memo of understanding.
I'd make a motion for you to sign it after the attorney looks at it, if he thinks it's appropriate.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, yeah, thanks, Stacy. Jen, would you send that right over to Kylie for singing in the morning? Okay. We'll move on. We have a special events permit from Brianna Fall.
Who's coming out. This is an event permit for the summer, so the farmer's market for next summer. It's the same as she has this year. Because she wants to have it here in our parking lot. Beginning the week of June 14th, go through September 27th on Sundays.
Questions? Mike, you're representing the police department tonight. Did you guys have any issues with it?
We've had no issues at all with that.
I thought it was well done myself. A few times I've found.
And they bring them homegrown tomatoes.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve this special event permit for the summer of 2026 for the farmer's market?
I'd make a motion to approve the special permit for the farmer's market for 2026.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the Boys and Girls Club, Nick. And see, you brought your counterpart. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman. My name is Nick Hatterley. This is Danny Tanner. I'm here today to, I guess, update you all a little bit on current iteration of my rec center endeavor. Some of you have been on town council for a while. I've appeared before some of you before. I've been working on this since the town council looked completely different over 3 years. So let me just give a little bit of background of how we got here and what the effort was and why we're here now. Over 3 years ago, as an initiative through Platte Valley Martial Arts, which I operate as well, we raised like $35,000 local money to try to design and figure out do a feasibility study on whether a rec center with a pool would be possible in Saratoga. We spent that money, we made a design, we hired a recreational facility consultant and came up with a pro forma on the operations budget and all that stuff. And the numbers came back quite high. It was like $13 to $15 million to run it and $800,000 to operate it, basically. Those are just ballparks. At that point, I was basically ready to say this is not feasible for a town of this size. We don't have the budget. We're never going to come up with that money. Then we were able to secure a large donor that committed to a third of that project cost. And I just couldn't walk away from that amount of money. And so I started trying to raise the money to make it happen. I got close to about 12 million bucks, but I was needing 18 to 20 and the project sort of stalled out. Then last spring I decided, let's just pull all the stops. We got to figure out something. I don't want to walk away from money that we've already raised. Started talking to the school district. They said, we'd love to attach it to the high school. Great idea. Some of the school board members were receptive to that, started attending our meetings, but there was just really no clear pathway there. The state School Facilities Commission is not particularly easy to deal with. It has its own political problems and so on. And the money's just not at the state level, isn't really there for school facilities either. Around that time, last spring, Miss Tanner who's a reasonably new resident of Saratoga. She and her husband bought a place down in Old Baldy around, has it been 3 years, 4 years? 2019. So they've been in Old Baldy since 2019. She's a retired school teacher from Casper at the alternative high school. And she saw a need for the Boys and Girls Club here in Saratoga. And she encouraged them to start talking to the school district. And they were like, hey, you should talk to Nick Hatterley and maybe there's something to be done here. And that's kind of how we got to working with the Boys and Girls Club and having it be part of a recreational facility as well. Backing up a little bit, the prior iteration of the concept was that a nonprofit entity would own and operate the rec and pool facility. That entity is called Good Times Valley Recreation. It exists. We created it for this project. We have not done anything with it yet other than hold meetings. And then the idea was the board of that entity would become sort of half representatives of the different communities involved, Saratoga, Encampment, Ryan Park, the school district, etc. The other half community members, and that board would sort of run this facility. And then each of those entities would sort of contract with that entity to provide recreational services for the valley. That model, I think, is a good one, but again, we're here on our sort of third iteration of the council since I've started this effort. It's a political challenge to get all those people together and on the same page. And, as much as I want everybody to sing Kumbaya around the fire and make it happen, I think that's the other issue with the prior iteration. It's not just the pool, but that concept, I think, is problematic. The reason we went down that path initially is some of the large donors expressed concern about the town of Saratoga's involvement in operating the facility, just because of there was turbulence at the time in the rec department. The pool hadn't been being taken care of, these kinds of things. The last two town councils have steered the ship in a different direction on that front. A lot of energy has been put into improving recreational facilities. They've participated in improving the Woods Field. With the Little League, the pool has been improved dramatically in the last few years. And so these are sort of the reasons why we started changing, we're now looking at what we're looking at now. The other thing is the large donor, the owner of the Silver Spur is the owner that's willing to commit, or is the donor, that's willing to commit a third of the project costs here. And when he made that commitment, he said to me, that's enough of a donation to make a meaningful contribution to the community, but not so much that it's going to be easy for you to get this done. And that'll really show whether the community wants it. And I think he was right. As much as people say they want a new pool and as much as they would love to have one, the cost of owning and operating a pool, as this council well knows, is something that, the money never showed up. I raised $12 million, but that's not enough. So I think that's indicative of, okay, let's try to rejigger this and try a new approach. So now here we are today, after working with the Boys and Girls Club. The new proposed concept is a combined Boys and Girls Club with a recreation center attached to it and no pool. The CEO and the CFO of Boys and Girls Club came down to my office back in May or June, and they went over their 2024 annual report with me and showed me how much money they spend, how much it costs per head to serve kids in the communities that they're in. And it was astounding to me. Like, they could do what, their thought is they can do their full program for half or 3/4 of what it takes just to own and operate a pool. And that took me all of about 10 minutes looking at those numbers to realize we got to pull the plug on the pool. It would almost be negligent of me to continue pursuing that pool, given the cost, when we also have this huge community need of no K through 12 after school services whatsoever in anywhere in the valley. There are seasonal sports. We try to run a nonprofit after school youth program down at the dojo. That's just 2 days a week. I got a full-time job. I leave at 3 o'clock, 2 days a week to go run that. It's not tenable, and you guys all see the kids wandering the streets and probably could be spending their time a little bit more wisely. So these are kind of the reasons why we've changed the project. And the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is just what the Boys and Girls Clubs are. And this is where maybe Danny can correct me when I'm wrong or fill in if you have questions. But it is not, there's been some confusion in our preliminary conversations with the community about this. They're like, well, we had a Boys and Girls Club down at the hub where the dojo is now, and it cratered, right? That was not a Boys and Girls Club. That was a Big Brothers Big Sisters facility. It was operated on a shoestring grant. It was applied for and renewed on an annual basis. They only had enough money to hire 1.5 or 2 people at most. And it really was glorified babysitting. And those of you that were here when it was operated saw the wreck that place was in. We've cleaned it up a lot. We have a mural on the back, 2 murals on the back of it, one of which was partially funded by the Arts Council. We've fixed the fence, and so it's not that. It's not glorified babysitting. What Boys and Girls Clubs do is they do financial literacy. They do career planning. They do late night teen programming. They do assistance with youth sports leagues. They do, their whole deal is when school's out, club's in. And their goal is to make sure that every kid graduates with a plan, right? So we don't have a lot of kids we see burn through 3 years of financial aid or loans and an undergraduate degree just to realize that they wanted to be a carpenter, right? Not that there's anything wrong with being a carpenter, but they just wasted 3 years of their time and a bunch of community resources. So they're trying to make sure kids have a path, a clear understanding of what they want to do to make the most efficient use of their time, community's resources, their resources, and so on. So it's professional programming. They're talking about hiring 4 or 5 full-time employees at this place that would run this thing and provide these services. Is that about?
That's good.
Good summary? Okay. So I'm not really asking for anything right now. But the proposed site, for those of you that may not be aware, is on 7th and Elm, which is on town-owned property. That was the same site that I wanted to build the pool with the rec center before, in between the library and the high school. It's right next to the pathway project it was the preferred pathway project. I'm not sure where that is, but if that project ever comes to be, then there'll be a new sidewalk going right through there, connecting the 2 schools together, and the town owns it. So we've done due diligence on it in terms of the site was selected. We did a survey 3 years ago, and the site was selected based on community feedback in the first place. Since then, we've done our due diligence in terms of water lines, gas lines, sewer lines, et cetera. We understand what's going to need to be done there to build something there, but the town owns it. And I've come to this town council 3 or 4 or 5 times over the last few years, and every time I come here, I'm told that's a great idea. Nobody has ever said, oh, terrible idea, Nick. We don't want to build a rec center to support the kids and seniors in this community. They've always just said, great idea. Come back and see us when you have the money and can pay for it, which is great. But it puts me in sort of a chicken and egg situation, you know, because I go to donors and they're like, hey, great idea. We'd love to see this happen. Is the town on board or not? And I'm like, well, I don't know. They say they are. At one point in, I think the fall of 2022, the town council at the time said, hey, let's do a lease. And Jane France was representing the town council at the time, and we spent a couple of months and we negotiated a lease for the site. And then when I came to ask to have it signed, they sort of like, well, you know, we're only like a month out from new town councilors being sworn in. We don't want to overstep our bounds. And so they declined to enter that lease. But we have at least that as a starting point. And so what I am asking the council for, our ultimate ask is that we would like this council to actually take action on this project and give us some commitment on paper that the town is willing to collaborate with us to try to make this happen. I've presented the mayor with I don't know if it's probably not in your packets because I just sent it this morning. But I've drafted a resolution of support that basically explains all the reasons why this is a good idea. Going back to the 2016 Town of Saratoga Master Plan, which identifies in its SWOT analysis a significant number of weaknesses, maybe more than half of the weaknesses identified could be addressed by this project, right? Lack of indoor recreation facilities, lack of youth activities in the winter, lack of facilities to attract employers and employees and retain people to live here. These kinds of things are what we're trying to address. But all that resolution really says is three things. One, that the town supports the project and we'll collaborate with the Boys and Girls Club. Two, they'll give us being the Boys and Girls Club, access to the proposed site for purposes of preliminary planning. We want to do geotech. We want to do topo surveys, that kind of stuff. And then three, it says the town will, you know, make a reasonable effort at good faith negotiations of entering into some kind of agreement to make this happen. So it's not binding. It says, you know, but it says right in the proposed resolution, if the parties are unable to agree on terms, the town is not obligated in any way. But I think that first step is really important, you know, because we don't have to have this figured out to get started. We have to get started to figure it out. Because there's always questions. There's always going to be questions. People raise valid concerns. We want to hear them. We want to try to do the best thing for the community with this project. But just saying, hey, come back and see me when you get the money. And what about all these issues? And, you know, you haven't addressed any of that. It's like, well, you're not sitting, you know, not you, but the town needs to sit down with us and have the conversation to figure those issues out. Because I can't just come in with these nonprofit entities and decide what is best for the town. And we don't want to do that. You know what I've said all along, and I've said to prior town councilors is, I don't think I have the best idea for this. It's just an idea. If somebody else has a better idea, by all means, please. I just want what's best for the community, what's going to serve the community long-term, and, you know, make this place a better place to live. And it's not about changing the face of Saratoga. It's about upgrading, you know, like that pool is old. The rec facilities that we have, I mean, people call it a rec center. It's not a rec center. You know, we're not serving the needs of the community. Those facilities have served their useful life. They really have. And that's not to say like, oh, I want to change Saratoga and make it grow. But the fact is, it is growing. It has grown substantially over the last 5 years. And we need to do something to support the health and wellness of this community. So that's kind of my spiel. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now for Danny or I. Our intention, I guess, if I had a request, would be to be on your next meeting agenda, the November 19th meeting, and ask you to actually pass this resolution that day. The CEO of Boys and Girls Club will be here that day to attend that meeting and answer questions. He would love to be here tonight, but he's up in Buffalo working on the project up there. And so he, you know, sends his regards, but couldn't be here tonight.
Yeah, I didn't get the resolution to Jen in time. It has been sent to the attorney for review,
Okay.
and we'll do that with just about anything, just even that memo tonight
Right.
over the sculpture. Yes,
That's why I wanted to give you time. I mean, we're not trying to, I've been watching projects go on and helping with different projects around the community. I'm still the new guy. I moved here in 2017. I'm the new guy. But I've tried to learn lessons from some of these other major projects that occurred, like the hospital and the thing we did up with the old medical clinic building with Valley Village and Excel. And I think our intention is to have a collaborative approach. Like I said, we're not trying to just say, hey, this is what you need, and we're gonna shove it down your throats. And that's one of the things I really like about the Boys and Girls Club people is come here and say, hey, here's what Boys and Girls Clubs are. We're gonna cookie cut you one and have it in Saratoga. They came down and started talking to stakeholders and saying, hey, what do you have? What do you need? Where can we fill in the gaps? You know, so like I think in Glen Rock, they run the rec volleyball league completely on their own for the town because that's what the town needed. And here they've suggested, and this is where we can have some efficiencies with the rec department, is they've said, hey, we'll help as much or as little as you need with your youth sports leagues. We understand that Saratoga's recreation department is on a strapped budget. They usually only have 1.5 employees or so, plus not counting the seasonal employees at the pool. And so that can be a burden, especially when you have a community demanding more services like volleyball leagues and pickleball leagues and all these things that are sort of outside the scope of the youth stuff, you know? Softball league has grown, co-ed softball league has grown a lot in the last couple of years. So I think it's a great opportunity for collaboration between entities here. And just so you know, like the conversation about the facility itself it would be separate. So there's kind of like 3 conflicts that happen at the community center, like right now. One is the school district has priority of use for all of its middle school sports or whatever it wants to do there, which is a constant problem with scheduling town stuff, or maybe not even scheduling, but just the cleanup that's required in between to flip that place and make it actually functionally usable in a meaningful way. There's that problem. You have kids coming in after school that aren't supposed to be there, not following the rules, unsupervised, running around the place, you know what I mean? Causing those kinds of problems. And so by having a Boys and Girls Club on half and a rec center on half, the Boys and Girls Club would be wholly separate, locked off, sealed off. You know, so kids membership, the barrier to entry is minimal. I think it's $15 a year to join and become a member. You can drop in, you can sign up for programs and be there on scheduled programs. You can do all kinds of stuff. So that kind of gives the kids a place where they're allowed and not breaking the rules to go do those things. And then the rec side is totally separate. And then that frees up gyms at the community center potentially for school district use. I did not mention this yet, but we cut the pool off, but we are talking about adding 2 gymnasiums. So one would be on the Boys and Girls Club side, one would be on the town rec side. And we've hired a new architect out of Casper this time, and we haven't seen any design yet. We're in very preliminary discussions about that as well. Our intention is to start holding town meetings. We had a conversation today about it. We're thinking town hall meeting starting probably like in January-ish to start the conversation about, hey, here's your preliminary design, get feedback from people, you know, have those conversations and go from there. So that's the idea. I appreciate your guys' time. If you have any other questions for me, Danny or I were.
They didn't mention it, is you told me that Boys and Girls Club are 100% behind this. They are ready.
Yes, so yes.
Yeah, so the Boys and Girls Club of Central Wyoming has, their 2 boards have voted to support this campaign of 15.5 million. And what you need to know is we're not gonna we're gonna spend 18 months educating the community, doing more research to determine exactly what we need so that we don't overbuild or overserve, I guess, the size of our community. And also, we're not coming in with just, you know, balloons and flowers in our brains. This is a passionate endeavor, but it's not just sing song. We're going to come in and do the research. We're not going to break any ground until 95% of the funds have been deposited in an account. And we will move forward and answer any and all questions and concerns that arise as we go along. Boys and Girls Club isn't just about, it's definitely not glorified babysitting, and it's not just about sports. We're going to work very, very closely with all of the teachers in the school first thing kids do when they get to a Boys and Girls Club after school is come in, get a treat, and do tutoring. We want their grades to go up, we want our district scores to go up, and we want our high school ACT scores to improve. And that's a really, really focal point of Boys and Girls Clubs in general.
Thank you. And also, you're planning on raising and having an endowment to cover some costs for.
Yeah, so we conducted a feasibility study this last fall. We Boys and Girls Club, I should say, did. They hired a fundraising campaign consulting firm for this purpose, who we just engaged to continue on through the whole campaign. That process consisted of conducting interviews of potential key donors, stakeholders, community leaders, et cetera. Some of you were interviewed. We invited the Rec Commission to participate in a focus group, who, by the way, I just spoke with Megan James. She did indicate to me that the Rec Board they didn't have a quorum on Monday. We came to talk to them. They couldn't formally vote to support the project or to encourage this board to enter this resolution, but she just gave me word that they are going to support it and send you a letter of support asking you to enter into this resolution with us. So, that's kind of where we're at on that stuff. But, I think the idea, just so we're clear, is not to strap an albatross to the neck of the town of Saratoga. The goal, and my goal all along, has always been to get the existing town into a new facility within its existing operational budget parameters. So that's the goal. We're trying to come up with the money to build this thing. And so right now, the feasibility study showed a range of 12.5 to 18.5-ish. The boards of Boys and Girls Club, both the operational entity and the foundation, elected to pursue a campaign of the median of that. So that's how we arrived at that 15.5 number. But to answer your question, that budget includes about just under 9 for building the facility, 5 for endowing it, and $1 million to cover operations for at least the first 2 years. So that's the idea. Now, I think, I'm a consummate optimist, I think we have capacity for 20 million still on this deal. And I think the intention there would be to just double endow it, just keep pouring money into the endowment to make dang sure this thing's gonna run. I've said this to you and Mike, I value my reputation. As you guys all know, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and a moment to destroy one. And I've tried to serve this community well the last few years. I've done what I said I was gonna do. I won't go away, I'm back. I've been running that dojo down there for 7, we're going into our 8th year next year. And I consistently showed up, every Tuesday and Thursday night, I'm there. I scheduled my life around that place. And so I believe, I want to hold my head high in this community at the end of the day. I don't want to spend $6 million of my boss's money and have it crater. So I like my job. I like my community. I want to keep working there. I want to keep living here and not have to hide from people in the grocery store. So my intention is this thing, we have a plan to make sure it's going to run for its intended life, whether that's 30 or 50 years or whatever. That's the goal before we pull the trigger on anything. And the lease agreement that we negotiated last time has some safety mechanisms built in. So it says we have to demonstrate a letter of credit, or that we have sufficient funds before we can even break ground, that we have to submit plans for town approval, and before we, so the town will have a say over it. We're not just going to take your site and go build something and say, here you go. It'll be a collaborative endeavor.
The lady that come in and did the interviews and everything, that company, have they got anything that we can read on what they found?
So the feasibility study summary has been compiled, and she is working on, the study has been compiled. She's working on a summary of that study, and we should have it in the next few weeks. And we will
okay,
absolutely
great.
be sharing.
Okay. Well.
So I guess if I have a request, like I said, it's that we'd like to come back in 2 weeks with Ashley Bright, the CEO of Boys and Girls Club, and ask you all to entertain a motion to approve the resolution. However, I wanted to give you time. I know you have stuff reviewed, so thank you for submitting it to your attorney already. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming in and bringing it
And in
up.
the meantime, Danny or I are available. We want to get all the questions out there. So if you have questions, hopefully most of you have my email or know how to get a hold of me. Shoot me an email. Let's talk about it. You know, if you think of something, write it down, shoot me an email. I don't care what time. If it's 10 o'clock at night, whatever. We'll compile them and then we'll come back and talk about it in more detail on, you know, on the 19th. And then in terms of next steps, if the council approves the resolution and says they'll support us, let us have access to the site and start negotiating an agreement, I think the next step would be to figure out some kind of a working group, maybe with a representative of this board, with some people from the rec commission and the rec director probably, to sit down and just talk about what kind of terms the town would need to be able to do this. You know, is it gonna be just a straight up lease back payment, kind of like the community center relationship is now, where there's a clear number that's budgeted for and paid, or are utilities gonna be on top of that, or these kinds of, you know, the terms, you know, and then the Boys and Girls Club, I think, is prepared to take those ideas and then based on the prior lease, because we don't want to waste your guys' time, you've already had something drafted and negotiated, that we would try to change it for this project and present that. And our goal is to try to get something secured from the town. This is just a goal, but by the end of January, if possible, you know, before Valentine's Day. Because having the town committed is going to be the key to the fundraising. You know, and as I said before, there will be benchmarks, so the plug could be pulled at any moment. But if we don't get across the finish line, but not having a start has been one of the biggest problems for me trying to raise the money.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks you guys for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll get the resolution handed out to these guys and,
I'll
the
get that
attorney.
summary to you.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Very
Thanks a
good.
lot.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to, the variance. If you want to step up. Like I said, there will be no action taken. You'll have to follow the right rules and go back to the planning commission, but
Yes, sir.
since you're here,
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councilman, for listening to me. Appreciate it. My name is Paul Newman. I own 208 West Saratoga. Recently remodeled, renovated a trailer house on that lot and would like to rent it. Well, I would also like to have another one there. If I could have two, I'd like to do a long-term rentals. Currently with just one trailer, I feel it's best for me financially to do a short-term rental. So if I was allowed to do two, I would like to have two long-term rentals. So rather than, you know, going through a bunch of hoops and wasting a bunch of people's time, it'd be best just to see where you guys did on the issue, whether you would support me in the idea of having two long-term rentals or not.
so. Remember a little bit of discussion. I was on the, planning commission for a while.
But yeah, this went in front of them once.
Pardon?
This issue went in front of them once
Yeah,
with not much support.
and you have a lot and a half, is that correct?
Correct. And I guess the way the code reads is you're not supposed to have more than one trailer on a lot without being a mobile home park. I guess I would kind of argue that I own a lot and a half.
Well. Let's start back over again and see what they say. I will try to attend. Emery keeps me posted on what's going on in there and I will try to attend the meeting and I can bring it back to what their discussion is and that procedure we've got to follow. We got to follow it the way the ordinance of the road.
Well, I was understood that, you know, that the buck stopped with you and rather wasting a bunch of other people's time and my money. I figured I'd just see where you guys stood on the issue
and you're right, it does stop with the council. We
Right.
can override a decision they make. Have we? No. You know, I feel our planning commission is doing an excellent job right now and you know, it is hard to tell people no, but we have told them no. Not everybody was in agreement with telling other people no, but we have. We've modified some of the ordinances, brought them more up to date for the town of Saratoga. And with the help of the planning commission, and so I would say we gotta start back over there.
Okay. I mean, everyone wants to say how there's, too many short-term rentals and enough long-term rentals, but here's our chance to have 2 long-term rentals, so. But I would approach you guys and see where you stood on it and
And there
was
was,
a good idea or not.
2 trailers on there to begin with.
Right, and all the infrastructure is there for 2 trailers.
Yeah, for years,
Right.
too, there, since way back in the seventies, if not before that. I know the seventies for sure.
Right. Primary solution was, to divide the lot in half, make it 2 3/4 lots, which is what my variance is for. But I don't like that resolution. I want to keep it as 1 lot. I want to use the infrastructure that's there. I want to have to demolish my barn and split water lines and whatever else. It's just more cost to me.
It is, so,
I would like to provide, a long-term rental for the town. I think it's something we, could all benefit from. So,
more rental property will not hurt, there's no doubt. Just,
I mean, the way it was left, I got frustrated and was like, well, I'll just do a short-term rental and build a shop. But that's not solving any problems, so. Ryan, that's what I'd like to do. Like your support.
all right, well, I'm gonna direct you back to the planning commission, and we'll start back over again.
Well, that's kind of the problem. I mean, I go through the commissions have already ruled once against it.
Well, and if you're denied there, then you'll come back and he'll have everything documented on what had happened. I don't know if they'll have a public hearing on it or not.
They would have to.
Okay, then the public gets involved. See that, it never went that far last time, did it?
Oh, because it's the Paul's right, like you have 2, you're supposed to have a mobile home park. They want to do that, so to do 2, we proposed the option of splitting that lot into 2 lots, but with 2 non-conforming lots, so then you're trying to get a variance for lot size. You're doing a subdivision because you're re-subdividing. So gets really expensive with all the platting and everything. So I said, well, you should, before you spend $3,000 getting all these plats done, and just have a conversation with them and see their temperature before you pay all this money for something I'm probably gonna go through anyway. So that's what we did. The planning commission wasn't super receptive to it. He chose to not proceed any further, and that's where it ended last time. And then he's like said, you buy a trailer and fill the shop. Get back in, the last conversation we had is kind of about a shop, and then they showed up.
So,
I see, it being more of a use to me, more of a benefit to me and the town being 2 long-term rentals than short-term rentals, so. I'm here pleading for it.
okay. Well, I would say we are gonna, my feelings are we need to send it back to the planning commission. Have the public hearing, go forth with every step, have the public hearing. And if it's denied, then you have the right to appeal to us. And then I'll call for a vote on it and everything, but these guys don't have all the facts, what they've tried to do in the past. I don't even think it was ever brought up to the council, was it?
No, there was never like official application submitted.
Yeah,
That we're calling draw due, and I want to press that money.
we have got to go back to square one.
Yeah, this is dangerous, doing this like this.
Yes, no, I will not ask for a vote tonight.
We'd have to have a public meeting about it as well. I know it's tough to jump through the hoops and stuff, but that's just how it is.
Well, I figured I might just try to skip those and see where you guys stood on it. You were supportive of having some more long-term rentals, I guess was my main question. So maybe I'll pursue jumping through those hoops again and shelling out some more money.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. Thank you for your
thank
time.
you.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to council comments. I have one thing I wanna just read, everybody's aware Bill Schroeder passed away. And I would just like to go on behalf of the town of Saratoga. I would like to take a moment to recognize and honor Bill. From what we can tell, he served the town for 26 and a half years. As a treasurer, we are grateful for his time and dedication he gave to that position during his tenure. Bill's commitment to public service is appreciated and remembered, and we extend a sincere condolences to the family and the friends. His contributions to the town will not be forgotten. And Bill, you know, I was on the police department when Bill was here, and Bill was a great guy. He really was. So I'd just like to acknowledge that. All right, we'll move on to reports from department. We have the town hall. We also, and under that, we have Mountain West. Can you hear it? There you are. Sorry it took so long. Thanks for joining us. I had a conference call with these guys on Monday. Her and Tim, I believe, was the other gentleman.
Yes.
Anyway, they've looked at our tower, and, you know, in negotiations, we've agreed to possibly work with them and use the tower and everything. Well, the tower is old. They don't, can't even, according to Tim, they discontinued building that tower 20 years ago. I did a little research last night. I talked to a gentleman that worked for Carbon Power, and he had worked there 25 years, and he said that tower was there when he hired on. He said it was possible when they put this building up, Carbon Power put it up, that it was built then, which could have been back in the late 50s. So they're just concerned, a lot of their concern is the anchor points, how it's anchored off. It's not actually anchored off the right dimensions, you know. Usually they're set 3 anchor points and they're even all the way around. It's not that way. One of the anchor points had slack in it. It was also brought up that ComTech was gonna put some more radios on it for the police department, which I had no knowledge of. I talked to John Moore, the chief, about that, and it was something that was done under when Tyler Christensen had wrote a few grants, and they got grants for radio services and stuff. So anyway, to make a long story short, the tower is not in good shape. They will not use it. They do have stuff down here now at the police department. We did talk, and they are coming back to the meeting on the 19th of this month. And they was wondering if the town would possibly be interested in a joint venture in putting up a new tower. Well, the town needs that tower. We've got to have our radios on it for the water and the sewer lagoon. The cameras at the hot pool. It's just, it's all a wing on it. Yes. So I told them that I felt the town council would be receptive to hearing what they have to offer and moving forward with it. But this is a decision I can't make and wouldn't make without everybody's approval. So I invited them down on the 19th. Tim thought he could have something prepared. You know, they gave me some ballpark figures, and, you know, to make it short and sweet, $30,000 to $40,000 for a new tower that would cover everything. So do you guys have anything you'd like to add to that, Lisa or Tim?
Thank you for letting us join, Mayor Davis and council members. That I don't have anything to add other than our our biggest concern is safety for anybody going to be on the tower, and of course, for the equipment on the tower as well. And so that's why want to come with the 19th with a formal proposal to enter into a joint venture to get a new tower built.
Everybody good with this?
Yeah, I am.
So, well, does anybody have any questions for these people?
No.
Mount
Is this tower gonna be built here, same spot?
It'll be maybe not in the exact same spot, but it'll be here at the police department or right in this area on our property.
Okay.
A lot of the concern was the anchor points. Like I explained in the beginning, they're not what they need to be. So, and the tower is, who knows how old it is. Well, great. Well, thanks for coming on tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the 19th.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the police department. Mike is filling in for the chief tonight.
Mayor, council. Talk tonight. Yeah, John Moore and Casey Blair went down to Cheyenne to pick up new Tahoe. And then in the meantime, the new Dodge truck, if you hadn't seen it, they went down, got the radio put in it, and it took a little bit longer than they were hoping. Here, I believe is actually out of the last budget, the council approved the purchase of rifles for the police department. The company that we were looking at doing the rifles is not able to fulfill the order. There's a litany of reasons why they're not able to do it, but short and sweet, they just, they are issuing a refund check. We have gone and looked at several other places where we could get rifles, particularly where we could get the parts and actually have them delivered. A company called CMMG has given us a quote of $10,969.28. That is actually for 7 rifles. Originally, you had approved the purchase of 6. So this price here is about $1,000 more than the original purchase that you guys approved. One of the reasons we're doing that is because the extra rifle is a left-handed rifle. We do have a left-handed officer, and so that purchase is there to accommodate that officer. The money would come from the refunded money that we're getting from, what was it? I can't remember the name of the company. Precision Arms, I think it was.
Yeah.
So the refund there, and then there is $1,000 that we could take out of the miscellaneous income that has accrued. That would cover the cost of that. So the money's there. We're just asking to approve the purchase of the 7 rifles.
So basically, you're gonna have, by adding another gun, then you're gonna have 2 extra?
Yes. Yeah, and one specifically would be left-handed. So.
Okay. Thoughts? Anybody got any concerns or anything?
No.
Sure would entertain a motion to go ahead and approve this. Once we get the refund check back. And with the purchase of 1 additional left-handed rifle.
I'd make the motion to go ahead with the purchase of these 7 rifles
Okay.
for $10,969.28.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. The fire department, they are having their meeting tonight. We should have a report from them at the next council meeting. So we'll move on to the recreation department.
Good evening, Carter.
Good evening, gentlemen. Only really the main thing I have is to kind of revisit the key fob situation we were addressing last time. We did write up as you called a letter that we will be sending out to all the people that we have emails for. It will be posted at rec department and it will be posted on our social media if you guys so see fit. And it kind of just breaks it down and explains to everybody that, yes, the current members will be grandfathered in with their key fobs. Any new members after hopefully today will be the 1-star members will be charged the $7 fee for the fob. And then the 2-star members will be, the key fobs will be included. And then it also breaks down that any replacement for all tiers that we have will also incur the $7 fee.
And you guys wrote, you and the rec board wrote this policy up?
Oh, well, the rec board didn't, they gave us the go ahead to, and Amelia and I drafted it up.
Okay,
The rec commission's all on board with it going into place.
are you gonna give us a copy to read?
There's one in your packet.
Is there?
Please, Rick.
My thoughts on this is, probably ought to run that by the attorney since you're,
100%.
you know, just,
Whatever you gotta
keep
do.
the town out of any possible litigation. And, so that would be my thought. We could vote on it at the next meeting.
Perfect.
Council in favor of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Then just kind of an update. Kind of been busy over there, thanks to the streets guys helping us get our new cable machine installed. We got adult volleyball coming up. Just busy. Busy as can be.
How's our new person working out for you?
Great, couldn't be more excited and happy.
That's great. Great.
She goes to lifeguard training on the 14th.
Getting that done way early.
Oh, yeah.
Good deal.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carter.
Okay, we'll move on to Department of Public Works.
Hello, fine gentlemen. Good evening.
You threw that around.
Let's just start 17 and 18, third and final readings of the sewer and water ordinance. This will be the last reading, and once they're published, they'll go into effect and get adjusted accordingly.
Okay, Miss Clerk, would you read the first one, the water one?
Town of Saratoga ordinance number 884, an ordinance amending title 13, division 1, water. Amended aspects of this enterprise fund include but are not limited to daily operation, maintenance, construction, billing, and fees. This ordinance repeals and replaces title 13, division 1, water in full and provides an effective date.
Are there any questions on ordinance 884? Do I have a motion to pass ordinance number 884 on its third and final reading?
I would make a motion to pass ordinance 884 on its third and final reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 884 is official.
Counselor, Saratoga ordinance number 8. An ordinance amending title 13, division 2, sewer, an ordinance amending the regulations, procedures governing the operation of the town sewer and aspects of this comprise operation, maintenance, construction, billing, and fees. This ordinance repeals and replaces title 13, division 2, sewer in full and provides an effective date.
Any questions? I have a motion to pass ordinance number 885 on its third and final reading.
I'd make a motion to pass ordinance 885 on its third and final reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 885 is now official. Okay,
Thank you. Moving on to number 19. This is our first payout from the West Bench project that they have requested. This is not for everything that they have completed. They actually have more work completed than this, but that's the quantities and everything that Crystal tallied up. Sent over, me and Craig went through them. There were a few slight changes that we had to get straightened out, but we believe the quantities and and everything in the pay app is copacetic with the contract docs. And also all the CIP is done. They're out of here. That went really well. And these guys are scooting right along. They're further ahead than I thought would be at this point in time. So, and everything's turning out like straight and on grade.
the alleys are looking good, but they've been down.
Yeah, when they're getting cleaned up and everything,
Yeah.
getting everything.
Things are looking good. Are there any questions for Emery about this payout?
And everything out of this pay app is all special purpose tax funded. This, haven't done any of the other, none of the other alternatives are on this pay app.
So the chair would entertain a motion to go ahead and pay this first pay app of $699,209.98.
I'd make the motion to go ahead and pay this, the first one, $699,209.98.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, number 20 is, we're in November and we're kind of getting on into the season where contractors are starting to think about what they're doing next year. I'd like to get the last components that we have for the Never Forget Park project that are in the grant out. The concrete work, landscaping, sprinkler system, put the bathroom back out. What I wanted to talk to you guys about is completion dates. We've kind of got control over when we want to see those done in the spring. I'm thinking by the end of May or end of June. You guys prefer to go to the end of June to have the bathroom, concrete and everything all done, just in case.
I think the end of June would be the best, simply because we don't know what the spring would bring. You know, we may have a late snow, we may have late, everything. I don't know. That's my thought, to give them a little extra breathing room, but
Yeah.
maybe they don't need it. I don't know. That's just my thought.
If they get it done earlier, it's just a plus.
Okay. We go to the end of June 30th.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to split things up between I don't want to be paying sub costs on too much. If I feel like if we're gonna get a landscape guy, if he gets the whole thing, then we're gonna be upcharged on a concrete quite a bit. So there was the idea of maybe doing a concrete bathroom and then irrigation and sod, just do 3 different packages. So we got guys who don't do those things, we're not paying extra, vice versa. It is gonna cost, because they gotta put a whole nother project manual together. Instead of 2, we gotta do 3. They're pretty big because of the grant. So it's gonna be like probably an extra time and materials, an extra $5K to do another manual. I think we're gonna pay $100,000 in concrete work. If somebody's got to sub that out, they're gonna tack on what, 15%, 20% probably. So I think it's cheaper to go free, but what do you guys have a preference? I would say if we couple anything together, it'd be the grass, the sidewalk and the sprinkler system. I think the bathroom, we just leave that to the contractors.
I think it needs to be separated too.
Okay, so let's do 3. We'll do the concrete, landscaping, sprinkler system, irrigation, grass, and then the bathrooms. We'll do 3.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
So we'll get,
You want us to go ahead and vote on this so you can move forward with it?
yeah, and then I can have Jason get them developed. We got to kick them off to the grant people to make sure they okay them before we put them out. And then, so they probably will go out, if everything goes smooth here, probably first part of December, get them out.
Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and allow Emery to move forward with Never Forget Park on the 3 apps three separate bid apps.
I'd make the motion to go ahead and give Emery permission to move ahead with the three separate bids.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Perfect, thank you. Just a couple of quick updates on the water and sewer. So the West Bench project, I kind of said earlier, we're probably about, I'd say overall 65% of the way done. If the weather stays good, you know, they'll probably get done before we figured they would. Another thing, if you guys get constituents getting a letter in the mail about verifying their water line, we're going through another round of trying to get more information on some of these customers' unknown service lines, because we don't have any data on that. We had a bunch of unknowns of what's in people's houses. EPA's still wanting us to work on that inventory. So we're doing that. And so we'll send them, it'll be about a couple hundred letters that'll go out to various people who we've identified that we don't know what's on their side because we didn't have any record of it. And then that'll actually decrease a potholing project we'll have to do in the future because we won't have to go in and we'll have one less hole to pothole down the road. So if you get anybody who gets one of those letters, it's about the lead service line inventory that's mandated by the EPA.
Okay.
PFAS testing, we did get on the list and signed up for that. DQ actually paid a firm to come help us do that testing and pay for the original round of testing, which is another new requirement EPA is making us do. DQ stepping up once again to help us out with that, just like they did with lead and copper. So that's a significant savings and asset to us on that front. Well, too, we did get the tank inspection report back. That report I've been giving you guys every month. I'll get that attached to that and you guys can look over it. It wasn't, I mean, there was some stuff on the inside, wear and tear that needs to be remedied, but I would say for its age and it's not doing too bad.
Good. Good. Okay. Any questions for Emery?
No.
Moving on to number 21, Whiteout has kicked back the TAP grant agreement for the Pathway project. So this secures up our grant funding, 1.4 million to get this project done. The timeline in that agreement is pretty big because if we expire the timeline, then it becomes a big elongated problem where we got to amend agreements. So we can do it faster than what it's proposed, but the timeline in the agreement gives us a lot of leeway if we get a bad price and we need to rebid or we need to do this and do that. But Marty, I'm working on the scoping letters for the environmental. We'll get the committee together, decide who that's going to be for the procurement for the rest of the engineering, the construction management. So we'll move it along as quick as we can.
Okay, good.
So if we do need a formal approval on that, if you guys can.
Just to move forward.
Yeah, decide to give you the authority to sign that, the number.
Oh, do I have a motion to go ahead and have Emery sign this TAP grant agreement? Oh, me?
You.
Oh, I thought it was you. I don't want to put my name. Okay, anyway, could I get a motion for me to go ahead, to approve me to go ahead and sign this TAP grant agreement?
I'd make a motion to go ahead and let you sign the TAP grant agreement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
And just a reminder, you'll have that public hearing at your next meeting for the zone change application that's on the table, 6 o'clock. I'll be here. I'll get email that packet over to you that the planning commission had, so you got all the same information. The GIS contractors got our zoning map about done, so hopefully we'll have that on the website here in a couple weeks. Ready. Yeah. And our GIS is up and live and the guys are able to use it, our water and sewer and streets and meters. And so we actually found a water line that who knows how old it is, the 4-inch up there when they were doing the sewer project. And there was a brand new 6-inch line that was put in the 70s. It's plastic and those services never got hooked up to it. So
but we found it.
yeah. And I think it had something to do with and Jerry, you guys might remember when they had the water tank up in there, they put some new pipes in when the water tank was up on the hill. And I think the idea usually didn't hook service lines back up to transmission. line, so they might have just, we're gonna come back later and put another smaller line in and just never did, but. So, we'll get that next spring. We'll go ahead and hook those up to that plastic line and abandon that old 4-inch.
You can add that to your.
It's already on there, bub.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the repair and all the detail of the repair that
Nice.
Rocky Mountain did.
It'd be really nice to know where this stuff's at.
It would. Especially who goes and digs it up and.
Saved me a lot of hand digging.
At least if they have to dig something up and then they'll know there's something there.
Yeah. And nobody knew. We had. Any idea. Yeah, that's all I got P and Z wise.
Okay. Anything from the Water and Sewer Joint Powers Board?
Haven't had a meeting for a while, so we got one next week.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Any questions for Emery? Okay, we'll move on to Bub with the Recreation Commission.
Nothing really new to report that wasn't already discussed. Nick was pretty much the whole meeting the other night.
Yeah, they didn't have a quorum,
So, the next meeting is December 1st here at 6 o'clock at the town hall.
Okay, the Saratoga Airport Advisory Board, their next meeting is November 10th, 2025 at 3:30 here at the town hall. Okay. We'll move on to South Central Emergency Medical Services. Their next meeting is September 1st, 15th, 2025, and it doesn't give me a place where it's at. Oh, Saratoga Ambulance Barn. So it's here in Saratoga. Okay, any questions on those? Is there any new business to be brought before the town? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.